All right, let's jump right in. What we're about to break down here isn't science fiction, and it's not some prediction about the distant future. We're talking about a threshold that has just been crossed, a fundamental shift in what intelligence even means on this planet. So let's get into what's really going on.
It all starts with this one single, really powerful idea. Somewhere, right now, a switch has been flipped. An invisible line has been crossed. And no, this isn't a movie plot. This is the new reality we're all living in, and we're going to explore it together.
And get this, it has a time and a place. We're talking about the final months of 2025. And it's happening deep inside these secure data centers, buried under deserts or hidden away in server farms the size of small cities. This isn't happening out in the open. It's happening quietly, in the engine rooms of our world.
So how in the world did we get here? Well, it's so important to understand that this is not just another incremental update. This isn't like a new version of ChatGPT. We are talking about a completely new class of artificial intelligence. Okay, so here's the key difference. The AI we've all gotten used to, it's always relied on gradual upgrades, right? Always guided by human engineers. But these new frontier models, they're playing a totally different game. Think of them as self-teaching systems that can actually invent their own techniques to solve problems. And a lot of the time, those techniques are things we can't even understand.
And this graph, this really gets to the heart of why this leap happened so suddenly. The power of these models scales with how much computing power you throw at them. But it's not a gentle slope. See, more compute doesn't just make them a little bit better. It makes them exponentially more capable. It's this predictable, almost terrifyingly straight line going up that has brought us to this very moment.
I know that all might sound a bit abstract. So let's get concrete. What can these superhuman systems actually do? Honestly, the capabilities are just mind-blowing. First off, they can write computer code that is more efficient, more elegant, and has fewer bugs than the absolute best, most senior engineers that are top tech companies. Just like that, a whole domain of human creativity and logic has been surpassed. And this isn't just about being faster at things we already know how to do. No, these systems are actually making new discoveries. They're coming up with completely new mathematical theorems, ideas that no human mathematician has ever even thought of. This is the creation of brand new foundational knowledge.
And this has huge real-world consequences. In biology, for example, they can design brand new proteins from scratch, the literal building blocks of life. This could totally revolutionize medicine, creating cures and materials that, until right now, were just science fiction.
And finally, think about the ultimate tests of human strategy. Games like chess or Go. These models reason through complex moves with a kind of insight and clarity that leaves the world's best human players absolutely speechless. They don't just play the game better. They understand it on a level we can't. And here's the really crucial part. This isn't happening at just one company. The biggest names in the game, we're talking OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and a few others, are all crossing this finish line at basically the same time. It's a synchronized leap forward across the entire field of AI research.
So, what does all this actually mean for us? Well, this leads us to this concept of an intelligence explosion. Because that gap we always assumed existed between human and machine intelligence, it's not there anymore.
Just let that sink in for a minute. For decades, we've talked about the gap closing, but the claim now is much more stark. That gap is gone. We're no longer the undisputed champs in every intellectual field. That whole era? It's over.
And this brings us to a really important term, the intelligence explosion. It's that moment when progress speeds up so fast that we stop measuring it in years and we start measuring it in weeks, or maybe even days.
So this is the big question, isn't it? If an AI is superhuman at pretty much everything, does that mean we've finally done it? Is this artificial general intelligence? Is AGI here?
And that leads us to our final and maybe our most important point. Because the answer isn't what you probably think it is. This is the moment before AGI. Let's be absolutely clear about this. What we are seeing right now, this collection of incredible, superhuman skills, this is not the arrival of AGI. It is something else entirely. It's the prelude.
And this is the final thought to really chew on. We haven't reached the finish line. We've just heard the starting gun. This is the moment a new general intelligence looks back at us, its creators, understands the huge gap that's now between us, and just begins to run, accelerating away at a speed we can't even imagine. And that, well, that changes everything.